Good evening, I'm Prasad. As most Malaysians struggle with the health and economic effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, under former Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin, the government spent 38.5 million ringgit renovating the PM's official residence, Seri Perdana. That's far higher than the reported 24 million used to construct the building in the year 2000.
Former Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin has asked the Public Works Department and the Prime Minister's Department to come forward and explain how over 38 million ringgit was spent renovating and repairing the Prime Minister's official residence. He said the repair work was closely monitored by a task force comprising officers from both departments to ensure specifications were met. He said, in line with the principles of transparency and integrity practiced by the government, the relevant departments should come forward to provide a clarification to the public on the matter. Muhyiddin also said, for the record, he never occupied Seri Perdana during his tenure as Prime Minister. This statement came hours after Najib Abdul Razak urged Muhyiddin to explain how the government could spend so much when the Bersatu leader had publicly said the government was running out of money at the time. Bangan MP Lim Guan Eng today also called for the details of the 38.5 million ringgit costs for the repairs to be made public. Defending the repair work, Muhyiddin said he received a report from the Prime Minister's Department in March regarding Seri Perdana's physical condition. Muhyiddin explained that a large portion of the cost involved construction work, electrical and mechanical repairs. Outdated wiring of more than 20 years at Seri Perdana could pose a fire hazard if left unchanged, according to Muhyiddin.
Muhyiddin's statement came after Najib called him out on the costs of the renovations and repairs. All that after Muhyiddin said the country was running out of money.
Pekan MP Najib Abdul Razak has criticised Bersatu President Muhyiddin Yassin for commissioning the renovation of Seri Perdana in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic when the latter was the Prime Minister. The renovation works to the Prime Minister's official residence began in March 2021 and cost 38.5 million ringgit. A month later, during a visit to the Sikh community in Petaling Jaya, Selangor, Muhyiddin declared to the public that the government didn't have much money left due to the pandemic. Previously, it was reported that the renovations cost 30 million ringgit. However, the actual cost was revealed by Special Functions Minister Abdul Latif Ahmad. According to him, the 22-year-old building was in dire need of repairs, including electrical and roof works, hence increasing the price to almost an extra 10 million ringgit. Abdul Latif also said the renovations were commissioned 5 months before Ismail Sabri took over as Prime Minister.
As a citizen of a democracy, it's your responsibility to vote. But one UMNO MP wants to make voting mandatory. He thinks you should be fined for not voting.
UMNO's Pontian MP, Ahmad Maslan, wants the government to make voting mandatory. He told Dewan Rakyat today that those who skip casting their votes should be subjected to punishment. What kind of punishment? He said, for example, they could be fined 100 ringgit or 200 ringgit, or they could be barred from renewing their license. According to him, voting was only done once every 5 years, and hence there was no excuse for missing out.
5 tahun sekali tak pergi mengundi, Datuk Speaker. Apakah bendanya ni? Bukan sebulan sekali pergi mengundi ni. Pada PRU ke-14 keluar mengundi 82.32%. 14.9 juta pengundi, yang keluar cuma 12.2 juta, 2.7 juta tidur ke apa ke? Ya.
Ahmad pointed out that 22 countries have made voting mandatory, including Thailand, Singapore, Australia, Belgium and several Latin American nations. Harapan's Parit Buntar MP, Mujahid Yusof Rawa, stood up to support Ahmad, but was not given space to make additional remarks.
Speaking of fines and Ahmad Maslan, he paid a 1.1 million ringgit compound to the MACC. Here's why.
UMNO Secretary-General Ahmad Maslan said he paid a 1.1 million ringgit compound to the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, or MACC, because that was the amount he received from former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak. The Pontian MP denied his previous 2 million ringgit money laundering charge and told MACC in the Dewan Rakyat earlier today to ask Najib on the amount. The Pekan MP confirmed that the amount he gave was 1.1 million ringgit. Ahmad paid the compound yesterday, resulting in the money laundering charge against him to be dropped. Previously, in 2019, MACC had offered Ahmad a settlement, but he rejected it, claiming that the compounds given to him were multiple times the amount received. Hence, he fought back, but the court process was taking too long. Ahmad also reiterated that he was a victim of unregulated political funding. This resulted in him being left out of any positions in Prime Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob's administration on account of the money laundering charge. However, there is speculation that Ahmad resorted to a settlement to open the path for him to become a Dewan Rakyat Deputy Speaker.
Nama saya Nur Aini binti Abdul Razak. Anak saya Saswani binti Besu, umur 19 tahun. Dia ada penyakit kencing manis. Baru sebulan tu. Lepas 2 minggu dia rasa mata dia boleh nampak sikit lah. Mungkin gula dia ada kawal dendam. Mata dia boleh nampak, kalau gula tinggi dia macam kabur sikit. Dulu dia insulin kan. Ubat dia kita kena 14 unit, 12 unit. Sekarang ni kalau injek 8 unit, ada 9 unit, ada 10 unit. Kita kira makanan dia macam mana. Dia minum G-Shell tak injek banyak gula.
Good news for the folks in the Klang Valley. Tomorrow, Kuala Lumpur, Selangor and Putrajaya will move to Phase 3, which means more relaxed SOPs.
The government has announced more relaxations in the nation's COVID-19 standard operating procedures. This comes as several states and territories are set to transition to the next phase of the National Recovery Plan effective of October 1st. The Klang Valley, which includes Kuala Lumpur, Selangor and Putrajaya, will transition from Phase 2 to Phase 3. Malacca from Phase 2 to Phase 3 as well, and Kedah from Phase 1 to Phase 2. This means no state is still in Phase 1. In a statement last night, Muhyiddin Yassin congratulated the entire Malaysian family, particularly state governments that worked hard to manage the pandemic in the respective states to meet the threshold values that have been set. Each phase progressively allows more economic and social activities to resume, though some precautions such as mandatory masking will remain in place. Meanwhile, Ismail Sabri said spectators and supporters will be allowed to enter sports and recreational venues for Phase 2, 3 and 4 states, but with conditions. They must be fully vaccinated and masked throughout the match, and no eating or drinking are allowed in the stadium. Children below 18 would not be allowed to spectate at the venue.
While folks in the Klang Valley have been rushing to get vaccinated, thousands of adults in Kelantan simply refuse to get the vaccine.
As the Health Ministry pushes to get Malaysians vaccinated as soon as possible, there are 65,727 adults in Kelantan who have not received their COVID-19 vaccines. According to State Executive Councillor Dr. Izani Hussein, from the number, close to 10,000 have rejected the immunisation without any valid reason. He said around 17,000 individuals were found to be unfit to receive vaccination, while 9,953 have declared that they do not want to be inoculated. The Kijang State Assembly person was speaking at a press conference after chairing the Kelantan Special Committee of Security at the Darul Naim complex in Kota Baru today. Izani is a state exco in charge of health, housing and local government affairs. According to him, the data was acquired through a study that was conducted by district officers in the state. He said those who refused to get vaccinated when asked gave several reasons including fear and conspiracy theories. He explained that some feared getting the shots, saying that the vaccination was an agenda of the Jews. Izani still has hope for them to change their mind and get inoculated.
And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. If you'd like to support independent media, do consider subscribing to MalaysiaKini.com. I'm Prasad. Thank you for watching.